G'day. Took them along on a ferry flight in the Beaver from our maintenance base across to our operational base, which is about 10 miles away. You can see that I've already started the aeroplane up. If you're interested in having a look at a Beaver startup video, look at some of my earlier ones where I run through the startup procedure and pre-start procedure for the Beaver. But for this one, we're just taxiing out to the runup bay. I've let the engine warm up enough to get it rolling with these big bush wheels that when they've sat for a little while they come a little bit flat on the bottom, so it takes a little bit of power to get them rolling, but they go round again by the time we get to the runway. Just making sure that I'm clear of the fuel hours are there. It's been a while since I've flown the Beaver. Been in for maintenance, had some engine hoses replaced, a couple of other little jobs. So we'll make sure we're as thorough as always on our run-up and pre-takeoff checks. I'm just going to unlock the tail wheel now, kick it round into wind. Turns on the spot, which is nice. I'll try and let it roll slightly forward as I'm doing that, so that I'm not 100% on the spot, because otherwise we end up wearing out these tyres pretty quickly. Okay, that's pointing into wind or thereabouts. Park brake can go on. These digital engine gauges, I can never see them properly with sunglasses on. They're one of the drawbacks of modern technology, or modern-ish technology for the Beaver. Okie doke, we're almost up to run-up temperature now, so I'm just going to run through our temp fish checks, so our pre-takeoff mnemonic. So trims, I've already cycled these through while I was waiting for it to warm up. When it's sat for a bit, I like to cycle through their full travel just to lubricate, because otherwise we're normally just using middle of the ranges. So trims, we've got the rudder set there, which is 45 degrees out to the right, and we've got the elevator trim there set about neutral. No aileron trim in the Beaver. Okay. Trims, next year to come when we do the run-up. Magnetos, got both. Masters on, propellers full fine, park brakes on for the run-up. Fuel, we're on the front tank. The front's the full one, which is that one there. There's a bit of fuel in the other ones, but we're only flying for a couple of minutes, so I'm happy to run purely on the front. I was using the other tanks then, while sitting here waiting for it to warm up, I'd cycle through the tank to make sure to feed from all of them. Okay, fuel, flaps. Okay, so we've got the handle down to make sure that we're in the extend position. Not sure whether you can see from the video or not, but the flap lever's down here between the seats. So I'm just pumping it down, and takeoff flap is when, with the aileron at full deflection, the flap and the aileron are in line with each other. If I swap that over to the other side, you'll see what I mean there. Use some cobwebs, it's been sitting for a little while. And making sure that handle remains in the down position, so that if we have an engine failure on takeoff, all we've got to do is pump and we'll get flaps, rather than pump and retract the flaps and dump all the lift. Well, we do also have a flap indicator there, but I find this method more reliable. Fuel flaps, instruments, what are we looking at there? 080. We are 100 feet elevation here. I'll set the AH. Instrument switches, so I've got the nav lights on, I've got pulse lights on, the beacons on, got all the radios on. Controls, full free and correct. Excellent, and hatches and harnesses are secure, so all the doors are shut, the back doors are shut. My window, I'll do a line up, and I'll put my seatbelt on. I've got the lap strap on, but I can never move when I'm getting sorted with the lap strap on. Okie doke, and we're now well and truly at our run-up temperature, so I'm going to push the mixture up, and first we're going to go up to 1600 RPM for a prop cycle. Just shut that window, because chances are my headset will cut out, or my microphone will cut out. There we go. Okay, oil pressure comes up, low voltage lights out, through 1000 RPM, holding the stick back to keep the tail on the ground as it starts to pull against the brakes, and you probably struggle to see the indication on the RPM gauge there, but looking for 1600 RPM. There's 16, we'll give it 3 prop cycles. So the first one, just looking for the drop and then the rise in the RPM. The next one, we're going to pull it back and we'll get a rise and then a drop in the manifold pressure, which we did. And in the third one, I like to look at the oil pressure gauge and make sure we got a drop and then a rise as it cycles the oil through the hub. Now we'll go up to 1750 RPM, so we can do our mag check. Stabilise, there we go, up to 1750. There's 1700. There's 1750. Okie doke, and mag check. One, that's good. Back to both. Another one, that's good. Back to both. Okay, that's happy. And now we'll come back and check our idle.
Currently 1,700 on climb to...
Shoots at around 500 to 600 RPM, which, yeah, there we are, 510 RPM, that's good. And we have the low voltage light come on because the Jenny can't produce enough electrons when we're back at idle. And we'll reset now back to our 1000 RPM. You would have seen a little bit of smoke coming out of the cows there. That's just when they've done an oil change and changed the hoses, built oil everywhere. The little bits that don't get wiped up and tend to boil off as we do a run up. Okie doke, we're happy, got the radios on the right frequency, and we're going to enter and, we'll actually backtrack runway 23 to go to runway 08, when we'll be straight down the runway. Righto, park brake is off, all clear out there, tail wheel's still off to the right, so tap a bit of left brake to get it straightened up. And we'll give a radio call. So these big wings, it is hard to see, so I like to have a good look around as I taxi around so that I can see past the wings. We'll have a chat on the wireless, let people know what we're up to. Command Charlie Trace here, Beaver, enters backtrack to runway 23408, traffic claim. Now we're battle on the wireless, so we're right to cross. Or enter. Actually, I'll tell you what, we don't even have to backtrack now. They've opened the grass taxiway for us, so that's nice. We'll trundle our way down there. The 08's the shorter strip, but it's got about 15 knots of headwind on. That'll be a little bit more usable for us. So on takeoff, what we're going to do is we're going to line up. And like I do in every aeroplane when I haven't flown it for a while, so I'll just sit there and look at this picture because that's the 3-point attitude, so remind myself of what it looks like in this aeroplane. Which, as you can potentially see from the camera there, it's pretty well the top of the cows on the horizon, the Beaver. That's a lot more forward visibility than some of the other tailwheel aeroplanes that we fly. We're going to taxi forward a few feet so that we make sure that the tail wheel is positively locked. So that then as we push the power up, we've got a bit more control to keep it straight. Now, I'll try and talk you through what I'm doing, but by the time we get up to takeoff power in this, quite often the noise cancelling drops out on the headset, the microphone drops out. I'll give you a brief rundown of what we're going to do in advance in case it all turns to engine noise. But basically we're going to push up to takeoff power, which you'll be governing at 2300 RPM, should see just touch the red there. And max power for, manifold pressure for takeoff is 36.5 inches, so we'll go right up close enough to it, 35, 36 inches. Not a big fan of reduced power takeoffs, because the performance charts don't account for it in this aeroplane. The radio call, go mail and charge straight here, Beaver, runway 08, how much faster is this? And the second reason, if we reduce power, then there's an enrichment jet that only comes into play up at high power. So we actually end up putting less fuel in, so we get less cooling, and we actually end up with a hotter engine despite running a lower power setting. So that's the second reason. Okay, so lining up, you can see just a bit of opposite brake there to get the tail wheel locked, and I can feel positively now I've got pressure on the rudder, so I know the tail wheel's locked. And we will make sure the transponder is on and rich. Okay, and I'll run through my fuel flaps, trims, tail wheel, my FFTT check that I do for every takeoff, regardless of what aeroplane I'm in. So, fuel, we are on the front, and we do have quantity, and we don't have any low pressure lights, which would be that one if it was on. Got pressure down there. Flaps, we are definitely set for takeoff. We can visually confirm that, and the lever is down in case we need it shortly after takeoff. Trims, we've definitely set, and tail wheel, yes, we've locked it. No manual lock in this one, so it's a spring-loaded lock, just like the Cub. Okie doke, and then as we get rolling, roughly about the time we'll hit takeoff power is when we'll raise the tail, which will probably be around about 35, 40 knots in the Beaver. And then we'll maintain a level attitude, give it a slight positive back pressure, and let it fly when it's ready. I'll try and talk you through it, but like I said, we may lose comps initially. Okie doke, that's all looking good. Bit of aileron into wind, slight crosswind from the right. Temperatures and pressures are all looking good. Okie doke, proper govern about now. There's the airborne. We'll knock a little bit of noise off the engine, just look after our neighbours. We'll come back to 33 inches, 2200 RPM, and then as soon as we clear of obstacles, we'll come back to 30 inches, 2000 RPM. A little bit of trim. And I'm going to lift the flap lever to retract a couple of degrees, push it forward, so then if we do pop an engine now, we can stick the flap straight out again. And we're looking for 500 feet above to make our left crosswind turn. We'll clear the turn early, clear right, turn above, clear left. There's the turn. You can see I'm still using a touch of right rudder, where maybe you can't see. I promise you I am. In the left climbing turn with so much power on. And looking for a cruise climb of about 80 to 85 knots. Okay, we'll roll winch level for the moment just to clear our downwind turn, clear right, clear centre above, clear left. And round we go again. Just fine tune that RPM back to 2000. These are all looking good. And we'll come up to just above circuit height for Maitland, which is circuit height for Cessnock. Okay, all's looking good. With every aeroplane, but especially the big radials, just before I depart the circuit area, I like to make sure that all the T's and P's look normal, just in case I need to head back. Oil temperature's looking good, oil pressure's looking good, cylinder head temperature looks good. There's 1,200 feet. I'm going to lower the nose, retract a bit of flap, back to cruise configuration, and I'm going to bring the power back to about 1850 RPM and about 28.5 inches manifold pressure. Basically running about square. And we'll give a radio call.
Run out of X-ray is 8 miles west, 3,000, on descent 1,600. That's my airfield at 48.
Yeah, you may or may not be able to see what I've done there, but as I retract the flap back to zero, I'm still making sure that every time I do, I put the handle back to the extend position, so that we've got the flap there if we do need it for a forced landing, especially when we're cruising around only 1,000 or so feet above the ground. And we'll trim out the rudder there, keep the ball in the centre, so you can see it's back to just a little bit left of the takeoff position. So the fuel gauge is bouncing, which means we've got fuel in there when they stop bouncing, because they're a float type gauge, so we've got no fuel left. And we're about 7 miles away from Cessnock now. It's been a few hours since I took off in the 310, so could have changed runway, so we'll cruise over and have a bit of a look before we land, which is a nice way of saying we'll get an extra couple of minutes to climb the Beaver. Very docile machine. I mean, it's a few little, thermally type pumps around down low today. It's got quite a lot of pendulum stability. So it rides them out fairly well. And you can see though that I'm barely having to use much aileron. It's just a sort of I rest my hand on a two-fingered operation to keep the wings level. So you just use my dirty hand. It's been hard work, I promise. Okay, we'll give a 5 mile call there. Okay, so you'll have to bear with me. It's been quite a while since I've landed the Beaver. We'll go for a wheeler landing, so just a little bit nicer on the tar. especially with the big tyres, but particularly looks after the tail wheel as well. So what we'll aim to do is essentially fly onto the runway. I don't really chase airspeeds once I'm fake final. We'll just look out the front and fly it in a level attitude, bring the power to idle as we just about to touch down, trying to arrest the rate of descent to 0. And as we touch down, some forward pressure to pin it on and maintain the level attitude. But yeah, you'll have to be very forgiving on the critique of my landing. It's been quite a while since I've flown this machine. Not quite close enough to see the windsock yet, but what an afternoon aside from those little beat bumps. Now I might just pull the prop and the manifold pressure back to 1800 RPM, 28 inches. Just try and make some of those initial power reductions a little bit earlier just to let everything cool down a bit gradually. Of course, Beaver's so draggy that you can't take too far on the power and it drags up so much that you don't go anywhere. Oh no, I'm fairly certain it's runway 17, so what we will do is we'll join an upwind for 17, and then that doesn't work with what direction the wind's going, then we'll reassess from there. Sometimes here I'll join onto a base, not have to observe the runway direction, but there's been no one on the wireless for a little bit, I'm not too sure. Yes, I can see from here it's definitely 17, but we're a bit close to join a base now without dragging the power back, so we'll make it nice and gentle on the aeroplane to join an upwind. Yes, we'll have a little bit of a left crosswind in the touchdown. Not too much, only about 20 degrees off the runway, which is lovely. Clear right, clear centre above, clear left. Just about forgot what airport we're at.
Headwind at traffic, Cessna Romeo, November X-ray joins Crosswind, midfield Crosswind at runway 08 for touch and go, mate.
See the boys down there on the tarmac, so you don't critique my landing heavily, they will. Okay, clear right, clear centre above, clear left. And we're going to leave the prop where it is for the landing unless we have to do a go around. If we have to do a go around, we'll lead with the prop and the manifold pressure slightly behind it. We'll essentially bring the two up together. I don't know if I can push the prop up unless I have to. We'll land with it back in a course position just so that we haven't got the prop driving the engine and what they call backloading the engine, which wears out our bearings significantly quicker than if we try and look after it. Clear right, clear centre, clear left. Now I'm just going to start, bring the power back another inch or so. Maybe 2 inches there. Okay, and pretty well the same as any high-wing aeroplane if we have the runway cutting about 1/3 down the strut. And that's a pretty good space for downwind, which is quite a physically tighter circuit going to Beaver, just given it's a steeper strut, but that works for us simply because it's a draggy aeroplane. Okey-doke, 25 inches or 26 inches, that's looking about good. I'm just going to trick a little bit of flap out, and I always force it up there, check the handle's already down. A little bit of flap out just before we turn base. Such a dry day. I doubt we'll need carb, but we'll pull it on anyway. Just to be safe, clear right, clear centre, clear left, and we'll bring the power back around about 20 inches or so.
Headwind traffic, Cessna Romeo, November X-ray, turn face, runway 08.
We'll stick another bit of flap out, about half of landing flap down, which is nowhere near full flap. You just don't need full flap in a Beaver other than in emergency, the CRH says. As far as speed, sort of not below 80 I work for on the base turn, and I will quite happy, but it's just such a draggy aeroplane that it's nice to have a little bit more energy up our sleeve. And establishing on the final turn, stick a bit more flap on it. We might probably, no, that's about sufficient for landing, given our lightweight. And as it starts to drag up there, you'll see it's dropping down 280, and we'll maintain 80 in the early final stages. And then as we're approaching the runway and committed to land, we'll start bleeding the power back, and the actual touchdown will happen quite slow. Like I'm talking sort of down 60 or sub 60 knots. Like I said, we don't really tend to, or I don't tend to like to chase speeds on final. I'd rather fly the pitcher. So pitches, I'm going to leave back in course unless we need to go around. Undercarriage is fixed. Flap, I'll take out another degree or two when I'm happy with it, and carby can go cold now. Gives us a tiny touch more power there. And of course the wind swung around a bit more of a crosswind. Not that I'm making excuses, of course. Okay, right to the other end of the runway, and we'll just let it settle down onto the runway. We'll keep a bit higher, those trees, make it a bit smoother. And we'll need a further left aileron, right rudder in the touchdown. You can see how lifty that big wing is, even with only that bit of flap on board. Leading the power back, bit of right rudder, left aileron as we touch. Oops, there we go, got a bit of a gust, and we are on, fair bit of forward, stick to hold it on, and we'll give it a little bit, I had to use a touch of right brake there with that strongish crosswind, and full left aileron as we slow down, and as we run out of forward stick, we'll let the tail come down, full back stick, aileron into wind. We can then go up to fine, and aside from having to use a touch of brake to keep it straight, then I haven't actually touched the brakes for pulling up purposes, so we'll let it roll to a stop, save the brakes, stop down lazy and actually hold the stick back, and now we've got a tailwind, so we'll turn the ailerons out of wind to stop it picking up that into wind wing, and we'll trundle clear of the runway. Okay, there's flaps in the retract position, pull them up, flap handle all back down to the extend position just by force of habit. Transponder can come back to standby, and we'll taxi for parking. Thanks a lot for watching, we'll catch you in the next video, thanks.